Welcome back. We'll continue the conversation around this Electoral Act and the Assent debate. This time we're joined by a member of the People's Democratic Party, Ilemona Onoja, here in Lagos.
Good morning. No, it's a pleasure to be here.
Okay, so uncertainties about the applicability of the process, opportunity for disruption and confusion, and then draftman errors that you lawyers can later pick up and go to court and say, okay, these are the reasons why this should not stand. These are some of the reasons the president gave for not assenting to that bill. But your party has reacted vehemently against that. Why?
Very quickly, let us identify the least of the issues, the draftsman errors, right? Those are errors that can be fixed. And the National Assembly, certain leaders of the National Assembly, certain members of the National Assembly have expressed the willingness to work so that they'll be quickly fixed. I've heard backstage some people say that those things will take them 1 hour to sort out. But the real issues are that if you read paragraphs 2 and 3 of President Buhari's letter to the National Assembly, to the Senate President and the Speaker, you would realize that even if those draftsman errors are corrected immediately, he'll still not assent to the bill. The intention, which is masked by all these other things, is to ensure that we don't have a free, fair, and credible election. The reason why is because President Buhari knows that if we hold free, fair, credible elections, he will not win those
You're
elections.
not concerned about the timing?
No, sir. No.
Why are you not concerned about the timing?
Because INEC itself has not expressed any reservations about the timing. If the regulator in charge of the electoral process isn't complaining, why should a person who is about to be regulated under that process complaining? That is one political party, one candidate out of the plethora of candidates. There are at least, at last check before the CUPP meeting last week, there were 72 presidential candidates. After the CUPP meeting last week, that has dropped down to significantly lower. They're about to 40-something. So one candidate in the elections, one political party is saying it's our way or the highway. It really doesn't make much sense.
But you're also aware,
you're
also aware that about 40 or thereabout presidential candidates are supporting the president's decision not to sign.
No. The people who raise issues, and one of the issues that they raise draftsman issues. The issues that they raise that I'm aware of do not include timing. And even if, for instance, like Chief Michael Zekome just said, or Mr. Emeka Ngige just said, right, about the ECOWAS protocols. So it still fits into best practices that are applicable elsewhere. Now, the funny thing about the ECOWAS protocols, and this is instructive, is that the INEC chairman, Professor Mahmoud Yakub, is the chairman of the ECOWAS electoral bodies, their organization. He's the chairman of that. So if we're following ECOWAS protocols, and the ECOWAS protocols say 60 days, right? We have 67 days, I think, to the elections. So we still have that time. 1, 2, right? This process didn't start today. This process started since the Senate passed its amendments in 2017.
Okay.
So we've been on this process for more than a year.
Just hold your thoughts. We'll take a moment and come back to continue the conversation. Please don't go away. Welcome back to Sunrise Daily. We're now being joined from our Abuja studio by Sunusi Musa, a member of the All Progressives Congress. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much, Andrew. Good morning.
So real quick, you've got the reactions to the president's refusal to assent to that amendment bill. And other people are concerned that it's just a ploy to ensure that the elections are not credible. Even the PDP has said that as well. But what's your stand?
Well, let me say that the president has vindicated us, and as national coordinator of Nigeria Consolidation Ambassadors Network, we had a cause to call on the president not to assent to the act because of what we have noticed in the Act, which really are undemocratic and are ultra-vires to the powers of the National Assembly to make that law. But I'm even surprised that those issues, maybe because of the statesmanship of the president, he refused to even talk about them. And I've not seen people talking about them. And because I expect the political parties to quite be interested about the provision of particularly Section 25, which seeks to amend Section 87 of the Act. That section is clearly undemocratic. Talking about going to the extent of the National Assembly using legislation to micromanage political parties. I don't think that is those provisions there where, with respect to, because of selfish interest, National Assembly make themselves super delegates in all the political parties they may belong now or later in life. And even going to the extent of providing the sequence of primary election of political parties. Telling parties what they should charge aspiring to have the ticket of the party. I don't think this the extent of the powers of the National Assembly provided under Item 56, I think, of the 99 Constitution with respect to legislation of political parties. And another thing that maybe Nigerians are not looking at is because, of recent, the judiciary has come up with the innovation of making sure that any person who is found to have rigged election, he is made to refund all the money, salaries and allowances he collected while occupying office through a rigged election. Now, in this new amendment, the National Assembly went further to oust the powers of the court to make such consequential order. I think this is also not within the powers of the National Assembly because it's trying to curtail the powers of the judiciary as provided under Section 6 of the Constitution. So you find out that there are so many provisions in the Act which are really contrary to the Constitution, and such an Act should not be signed for it to come into law because at the end of the day, there's a problem with Nigerians. We don't look at things when they are